We are in Flamingo in the Everglades at Blue Bank. We are fishing a tree blown over here in Hurricane Irma. This is Clive Key. It's about 1.5 miles out of the marina. Alright guys, that's it for the fishing part of this video. Sorry it was short, but our GPS died out there and we couldn't really do anything about it or go to any of those good spots. But really what I showed you guys in the video is what happened today. We caught 2 keeper snapper, moved to Clive Key because the bite slowed down at the bank. Couldn't really land anything there. It was really muddy water, but whatever, a good day's a good day, and a day on the water is great. So let's go to the fillet table. See you there. Alright guys, what's up? Noah with the voiceover, and sorry about my setup, but I'm going to be showing you guys how to fillet this mangrove snapper. So first, you see me making an incision right behind the fin on the side into its head, and they actually have a lot of head meat, and that's why you see me cutting an angle. Then I'm going to get my knife, and I'm going to put it backwards with the blade facing out, and I'm going to slide along that backbone. Some people cut in regular, but I do it like this. Alright, so you see me, I'm sticking my knife very carefully against that backbone to make sure I'm not missing any meat. I'm just going straight along that backbone, being very careful not to go through the backbone or leave it so I don't miss any meat. And then you see, right as I'm about to get to the tail, I just stick my knife straight down over the spine and I do a rough cut all the way through. And I'm trying to cut through the tail, and there you see me, I'm getting through in 3, 2, 1, and I'm through. Alright, and now I'm going to switch my blade around, and I'm just going to feel along that backbone while putting downwards pressure and just trying to separate the meat from that back. I'm using my thumb to peel up the meat and also cut at the same time. My thumb is going to put tension on it to make the meat easier to cut, and it's also going to give me a field of view that a little bit better for me to see what exactly it is I'm cutting. And now there's some little ligaments in there that I need to cut to get to the rib cage. And now I'm starting to detach the meat from the rib cage, and you see it peeling up real nice. So really it's just all about staying close to the bone and trying not to lift your knife up. And as you can see from the earlier part of the fish, there's no meat left. All you see is bones and skeleton. But there you see that rib cage, and now I'm cutting through the little piece of meat and skin. And I just really need to get through that skin and finish getting all through this meat. And once I'm through that skin and I get all the meat off, I'm going to start skinning it. And that is probably the easiest part of the fillet process. Just get my knife, downwards pressure, one and done. Alright, so there you see my fillet, with the tail still attached, skin on. And with snapper, you can scale them and eat them with their skin on, but for this one, I'm going to take the fillets. So, oh, I dropped my knife there. That was a mistake, but basically grab my knife and aiming it at about a 15-degree downwards angle, I just follow along the skin, tightly pressed, but not too tight to go through the skin. And really, this is something you get good with practice. It's not something someone can really explain over a camera, but just get that concept that I just put in your head. Downwards pressure, be still. Try not to move your knife too much, and make sure you don't have a dull knife. A dull knife will kill your fillet experience. It will make it miserable, and it's dangerous. Make sure to have a razor sharp knife. Something really good is a carbide sharpener. That'll keep your knife sharp, and that will make a world of difference. And if you want to go one up, go ahead and get yourself a whetstone, but that's going to take some training for you to learn to use. But yeah, so here I'm cutting out the pin bones that surround the rib cage, because outside of the rib cage there's also little pin bones that I need to cut out, and that'll help out a lot. So there's my finished fillet, skinned, deboned, taken off the bone, from my boat to this cooler in an hour. Alright guys, it's Noah back here with another voiceover. Yeah, and we're in the kitchen now and we're cooking this fish. So I'm gonna be making fried fish fingers, and I really love this dish. It's easy, it's simple, you can mass produce it, and once you're done with the prep, seasoning, and everything, it's fast to cook. So I'm just cutting the pieces of snapper. This is my larger snapper into long, thin strips that I'm eventually gonna cut in half. But with your strips, make sure that they're even thickness. All right, don't get a skinny strip and a long strip. All right, because what'll happen is you'll undercook one strip and cook the other one just right, or you'll overcook one strip and cook the other one wrong. So I cut this strip in half. That one's a little too skinny, but snapper and fish in general has a lot of leeway. So that one is not too bad. But now you see me cutting them in half. I'm trying to get them even lengths, all right? Just don't cut them too small, all right? And use a sharp knife because you don't want to butcher your meat. That's a chef's knife and it's not razor sharp, but just don't use a dull knife because you'll really mess up the texture and quality of the meat if you do that, and it's really not worth it. So again, cutting the fish in half, putting it all in a pile. And yep, now I'm gonna get my fish fingers or fish sticks, whatever you want to call them. I'm gonna dip them in my eggs. So that's 2 eggs right there. That was actually a little light on eggs. So if you were doing this much fish, which is about a pound of fish, I would probably use 3 eggs. So use that as a general rule of thumb. 3 eggs for every pound of fish. All right. So I went to go get another egg because I only had 1 egg in there. And now I'm upgrading to 2 eggs, which wasn't enough, but it worked. So now you're going to see me whisking the egg with the fish inside, which didn't work amazing, but it worked just the same. So I'm just getting all that fish completely covered in egg. We want the egg to soak in, and that's going to act as the glue for your breading and your flour and all your seasonings. You need that egg, it's your glue. It's basically the base agent of what you're cooking. And now you're going to see me take out one of those pieces. And, all right, make sure to drip your pieces so they don't get egg everywhere. And also, you don't want your pieces too wet. For my batch, my egg was a little too wet, and it still tasted good, but it can taste better. So I ran out of regular flour, and that's some whole wheat flour. But the flour is really just to separate the breading from the fish, so it's not direct, which makes it taste better. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter, all right? The flour, especially when it's just to separate it, has no taste among the other seasonings. So whatever flour is cheaper is good. Just don't go unorganic and don't get some cheap bleached flour, all right? I like organic stuff and natural stuff. That's why I got the whole wheat, all right? Now you see me dumping the little pieces of the fish fingers inside of my flour bath. And again, make sure to drip your pieces. Can't really see it in the frame, but always drip your pieces because as I showed you earlier, I didn't show you, but you're supposed to dry your pieces with a paper towel. You guys probably knew that. But just make sure to drip your pieces because if not, you won't get that signature crispy feeling. You have to really drip your pieces so you can get that crispy feeling. If not, and they're moist, what'll happen is the breading will cook, but it won't get crispy. It'll just turn into like a soggy, sort of mushy part, and it'll just fall off, and it won't be fried anymore. So now you see me moving those around and making sure they're completely covered, because if they're not completely covered, my breading might stick to part of my fish, which is gonna take away from the taste. Some people do it without flour, but I take this extra step. I find it tastes a lot better. Makes a world of difference, and to be honest, it's only like $5 more with the flour, and a bag of flour will last you 6 or 7 times of doing this, so I think it's worth it. All right, and now after my flour bath, I'm going ahead and taking my pieces out of the flour, and I'm putting them back into the egg. And this might seem strange, but since I need to put the panko or the breading on, and I put flour on, my fish is actually dry, so my panko will literally slip off, like if it were water on oil. So I need to re-egg it, and then Again, I'm gonna drip my pieces. I dripped those a little bad, which is why my fish came out slightly soggy. So take your time, to be honest, and really do one piece by one by one, and just take your time. It's gonna be worth it. So I actually didn't put enough breadcrumbs in this batch, so you're gonna see me add some more, but really mix that up with your hands. You can use a spoon also, but you might damage the meat, so just get dirty in the kitchen. Like, be creative. Always add your own personal touch. And in my case, it was my hands. So there, as you can see, it's a little moist, so I got some panko. The panko there that I was using. That's a little bit of cheap panko, but some better panko would be the Italian blend panko. That stuff is amazing. It's like it's seasoning its own. And then this is the secret charm, Everglades. I swear by this stuff. This is the best seasoning on the market. You can go as generous as that with you want. It's amazing. It's everything in one. But get that on your meat. All right, that goes on steak, chicken, fish. I like it on everything. All right, but get that on there and mix it in with your breadcrumbs. And then I still added some more breadcrumbs just to see if it would be crispy enough. And this is actually a new recipe for me. So I wasn't really sure how much breadcrumbs to add. But now that I'm telling you, I would probably add twice as much as I added here. It was crispy, but it could be crispier, like more filled with breadcrumbs. So now moving that out of frame, and that's a whole fillet. That's not a fish finger. That's a whole fillet, just to cook a little different. And I'm laying all my pieces out on a plate just to make sure everything is covered, quality inspection. But really, it depends. For little children, fish fingers are gonna be a lot better and easier. But for people who can eat a lot more, definitely just do the whole fillet. Don't go through the struggle of cutting up into the fish fingers. All right, the fish fingers just make it easier to eat, but it's the same. And then this actually came out really good. This was something I just added to my recipe. As I already said, this is the new recipe, garlic powder. And with everything in your seasonings, always try to use the part of the nozzle that has the holes in it, not the big hole. You might let out too much seasoning, so always use that. All right, and next, I got some Morton salt, and I used this salt because it was really fine and it could coat the fish very good and fit in between the panko. So generally, with fried fish at least, the finer your salt, the better it's gonna be. So Morton is a good option for this purpose. And then I got some lemon pepper, and this stuff is thebomb.com. It's just amazing. It's almost like squeezing a whole lemon onto your fish. Well, not a whole lemon, but lemon onto your fish. And it really gives it a special aromacy that nothing else does. All right, and it might look like I put a lot here, but the holes in the top were very small, and I actually didn't put that much. All right, guys, so I'm back here out of the kitchen, and now I'm outside on my gas stove, outside on my barbecue, and what I'm doing is I'm putting in all my pieces at once, and they don't stick to each other because once you put them in, the panko or the breading literally immediately fries, and you're just waiting for the inside to fry, so they're not going to stick to each other. And the thing with oil is it's really dangerous, so make sure that does not get on you. So with your pieces, slide them in very slowly, and I say that with extreme weight. Do not drop your pieces in from a high height. You will be burned very badly. I have a family member who is burned severely all throughout their arm, and it is not anything happy. So drop your pieces in slowly. And right now I'm cooking on a high heat. And something I use when I'm dropping in my pieces is I turn my heat down to low and my oil will stay hot. But what happens is, this is so that, especially on a gas stove, the ambient heat from the fire won't burn my arm. And then once I'm done putting in all my pieces, I'll go ahead and add and re-add the fire by putting it on high heat. So as you can see, my pieces are simmering, and you want them to be in your oil bath for about 5 minutes or 7 minutes, more like 8, and wait till they're golden brown, and I'll see you when I'm eating. Bye. Alright guys, if you've watched the video till here, which I bet most of you haven't, but if you have, I mean you've sort of liked my content or you've just felt sorry for me. This is my first video on YouTube and it was sort of hard to make. I'm new to editing software and I'm new to ads and it's really hard, but if you could read the description, please drop a like, and if you could please subscribe just to follow up my content and give me more future tips, it would really mean a lot to me. So please drop a like and subscribe and comment down below what you liked about the video, and if you didn't like anything about the video, don't leave hate. Just give me something I should improve on, but no hate in the comments. Alright guys, alright, peace, have a good life, bye.